Have you ever believed someone you love was gone forever, only to discover a single object that turned your entire world upside down? What if the necklace your late husband wore every single day suddenly appeared around the neck of a complete stranger, a struggling single father desperately trying to raise his little daughter? Before we begin, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications, because stories like this remind us that hope can survive even after unimaginable loss. Stay until the very end, because the final truth behind this mysterious necklace will leave you speechless, and may even change the way you see forgiveness forever. Victoria Lawson stood at the floor-to-ceiling windows of the 62nd floor, staring over the city she had conquered. The skyline glittered beneath the evening sun, filled with buildings carrying the names of companies she had bought, transformed, or defeated. Financial magazines called her the Iron Queen of Business. Investors admired her brilliance. Competitors feared her. Yet none of them knew that every night, when the offices emptied and the lights dimmed, Victoria stood in the exact same place, wondering how success could feel so empty. 5 years had passed since her husband, Daniel Lawson, died in what authorities called a tragic boating accident. His body had never been found. Only pieces of the wreckage were recovered. Everyone accepted that the powerful ocean had claimed him forever. Everyone except Victoria. She had attended the funeral. She had signed the legal documents. She had inherited their billion-dollar company. But somewhere deep inside, a quiet voice refused to believe Daniel was truly gone. For years, she kept his office untouched. His favorite fountain pen remained on the desk. His leather chair faced the window exactly as he had left it. Every birthday, she placed fresh white lilies beside his framed photograph. Every anniversary, she wore the silver necklace he had given her on their wedding day. The loneliness became the fuel that built her empire. Instead of grieving openly, she worked. She expanded internationally. She bought failing businesses. She created thousands of jobs. The world praised her strength. No one noticed that every award ceremony ended with Victoria returning to an empty penthouse where silence greeted her louder than applause. One rainy Saturday, exhausted from another week of endless meetings, Victoria canceled every appointment. Her assistant nearly fainted. "You've never taken a personal day before," he said carefully. "I need air," Victoria replied. "No luxury events. No charity galas. No board meetings. Just one ordinary afternoon, without bodyguards surrounding her every step." Victoria wandered through neighborhoods she hadn't visited in years. Street musicians filled the sidewalks with music. Children laughed outside bakeries. Families carried shopping bags while arguing playfully over dinner plans. It was a life she once imagined having. A simple one. One filled with children, weekend picnics, and growing old beside Daniel. Instead, she had skyscrapers. As she walked through a weekend community market, something caught her eye. A little girl, perhaps 6 years old, accidentally bumped into a fruit stand. Apples rolled across the pavement. "Oh no," she cried. Before Victoria could react, a man rushed forward. "It's okay, sweetheart." He knelt beside the frightened child, smiling warmly while helping collect every apple. His clothes were worn. His shoes had seen better days. Dark circles rested beneath tired eyes that spoke of sleepless nights. Yet the tenderness in his voice instantly calmed the little girl. "It's just fruit," he whispered. "We can always pick it up together." Victoria smiled. Then her smile disappeared. Something around the man's neck reflected the afternoon sunlight. A silver chain. Attached to it, a distinctive oval pendant engraved with tiny mountain peaks. Victoria's breathing stopped. Her heart slammed against her chest. Impossible. She knew that necklace better than anyone alive. She had personally commissioned it 10 years earlier as an anniversary gift for Daniel. Inside the pendant were tiny engraved initials. D and V. Daniel never removed it. Not once. Not even while sleeping. The police report had listed it among the personal belongings presumed lost at sea. Yet now, it hung around the neck of a stranger. Victoria's hands trembled uncontrollably. Her vision blurred. The sounds of the crowded market faded into silence. The stranger gently lifted the little girl into his arms. "Daddy," she giggled, "we saved all the apples." He laughed. "Teamwork always wins." Victoria stared at the necklace again. There was no mistake. The small scratch near the clasp. She remembered causing it accidentally while fastening it around Daniel's neck years ago. How could another man possibly possess it? Hundreds of questions flooded her mind. Had someone stolen it? Was the accident not what it seemed? Could Daniel have survived? Or was there a truth far darker than anything she had imagined? Determined to uncover the answer, Victoria quietly followed the father and daughter through the busy streets. She had no idea that the next few days would unravel a mystery buried for 5 years. A mystery involving betrayal, sacrifice, corruption, and one heartbreaking promise made by a dying man that would change 3 families forever. By the time the truth came to light, Victoria would discover that wealth could buy companies, buildings, and power, but it could never replace the extraordinary strength of love, compassion, and the family that fate creates in the most unexpected ways. Kept a careful distance as the man and his daughter disappeared into the afternoon crowd. Years of negotiating billion-dollar deals had taught her patience, but today every instinct urged her to run after him and demand an explanation. Instead, she forced herself to breathe. If that necklace truly belonged to Daniel, then rushing in recklessly might destroy her only chance of discovering the truth. The father stopped Victoria at a small grocery store and counted a handful of coins before choosing only the essentials: a loaf of bread, a carton of milk, a few vegetables, and a small chocolate bar. The little girl noticed the candy first. "Daddy, that's too expensive," she whispered, trying to sound grown up. He smiled and gently shook his head. "It's your birthday tomorrow, Emma. Every birthday deserves a little chocolate." Victoria watched from across the street. Something tightened in her chest. The man wasn't pretending to be poor. His clothes were carefully patched. His jacket had been sewn together at one elbow. Even his backpack looked repaired several times. Yet despite everything, he never stopped smiling at his daughter. As they reached a modest apartment building on the edge of town, Victoria memorized the address before quietly leaving. Her driver noticed her unusually pale expression. "Everything all right, Ms. Lawson?" "No," she answered honestly. "Not even close." That night Victoria couldn't sleep. She unlocked the safe hidden behind a painting in her bedroom. Inside were the last memories of Daniel. Photographs, letters, their wedding rings, and an identical sketch of the necklace she had commissioned from a jeweler 10 years ago. Her fingers trembled as she traced every engraved detail. There was no doubt. The pendant around the stranger's neck was Daniel's. At sunrise, she made a phone call. Michael, her head of security, answered immediately. "Good morning, ma'am. I need you to investigate someone." "Of course. I don't want intimidation. I don't want police involvement. I just want facts." Within hours, Michael's team had gathered the basics. The man's name was Ethan Carter, age 38, widower, construction worker until a serious back injury forced him into part-time maintenance jobs. His wife had died from cancer 3 years earlier. He was raising his 7-year-old daughter alone. No criminal record, no history of fraud, no connection whatsoever to Victoria Lawson or the Lawson family, which only deepened the mystery. If Ethan had never met Daniel, how had he obtained the necklace? Unable to wait any longer, Victoria returned to the apartment building that evening. Emma sat on the front steps drawing with colored chalk, while Ethan repaired an old bicycle. Victoria approached slowly. Emma looked up first. "Hi." Victoria smiled. "Hello. You look like the lady from the magazines." Ethan stood immediately. "Emma, don't bother the lady." "I'm sorry," Victoria said gently. "Actually, I was hoping to speak with you." Ethan wiped grease from his hands. "About what?" Victoria's eyes settled on the silver pendant resting against his shirt. "Your necklace." Instinctively, Ethan touched it. "This? Where did you get it?" His smile disappeared. "I'm afraid that's personal. It means a great deal to me." "I understand." "No," Victoria replied softly. "I don't think you do." For several seconds, neither of them spoke. Finally, Ethan sighed. "I can't tell you." Victoria reached into her purse and removed a photograph. It showed Daniel smiling on a mountain hiking trail. The exact necklace rested against his chest. Ethan stared. His face lost all color. His breathing became uneven. "Where He whispered, "Where did you get this picture?" Victoria answered quietly, "Because he was my husband." Emma looked back and forth between them, confused. "Daddy?" Ethan swallowed hard. "I think we'd better go inside." The apartment was tiny, old furniture, books stacked against the walls, children's drawings taped everywhere. Nothing about the place suggested deception. Victoria accepted a cup of tea while Ethan silently searched for words. Finally, he removed the necklace, carefully placing it on the table between them. "I've wondered if this day would ever come." Victoria leaned forward. "Then you know who Daniel Lawson was." "I knew him by another name." Victoria's heartbeat quickened. "What do you mean?" Ethan looked toward Emma, who was coloring quietly in the next room. 5 years of secrets weighed visibly upon him. "The man who gave me this necklace didn't call himself Daniel." Victoria felt as though the floor shifted beneath her. "He introduced himself as David." She stared in disbelief. "That's impossible." "I thought so, too, after I saw your husband's photograph on television years later." "Then why didn't you contact me?" His eyes filled with regret. "Because by then, he had already made me promise never to." Victoria's voice cracked. "Promise what?" Ethan closed his eyes. "That if anything happened to him, I would protect this necklace until the right person found me." Victoria could barely breathe. "What happened?" "It began on the night of the storm. 5 years earlier, Ethan had been driving home after working an overnight shift along the northern coastline. Rain hammered the windshield. Visibility was almost zero. Then his headlights caught movement near the cliffs. A man, barely conscious, covered in blood, thrown onto the rocks by violent waves. Ethan slammed on the brakes. When he reached him, the stranger was alive, but badly injured. The man had no wallet, no identification, no phone, only the silver necklace around his neck. He couldn't remember who he was. Ethan said quietly, he had severe head trauma. Every time I asked his name, he looked confused. Victoria listened without blinking. He remembered only one thing. Ethan continued. He kept repeating the same sentence over and over. "What sentence?" "Someone wants me dead." A chill spread through Victoria's entire body. The boating accident, the official investigation, the insurance reports, the missing evidence. Had it never been an accident at all? Ethan continued. "I took him to a retired doctor who lived nearby because the roads were flooded and the nearest hospital was closed after the storm. For weeks he couldn't remember anything. So why David?" The doctor asked his name. He looked at an old painting of King David hanging on the wall. He simply said, "David." Victoria covered her mouth. Every piece of the story sounded unbelievable. Yet Ethan wasn't speaking like a liar. His voice carried the weight of memories he had never expected to share. "We became friends," Ethan said. "He helped repair houses after the storm. He played with Emma. He read bedtime stories. He treated us like family." Victoria's eyes filled with tears. That sounded exactly like Daniel. Not the billionaire, not the executive, just a kind-hearted man she had fallen in love with before success changed their lives. "What happened next?" she whispered. Ethan looked toward the necklace once more. 3 months later, everything changed. He remembered who he really was. Victoria leaned forward, and the first thing he did was cry. Not because he had regained his memory, but because he realized someone had deliberately tried to erase his life. He knew returning home would place everyone he loved in danger, so he made the hardest decision imaginable. He chose to disappear. Victoria's tears finally fell. "No, he loved you," Ethan said softly. "Every single day he talked about you. Then why didn't he come back?" Ethan lowered his head. Because the people responsible for attacking him believed he was already dead. And Daniel discovered something that terrified him even more. He learned the betrayal had come from someone inside his own company. Victoria froze. Inside Lawson Industries? Someone she trusted? Someone who had attended Daniel's funeral? Who had comforted her? Who had helped her rebuild the business? Could the enemy have been standing beside her all along? Little did Victoria know. Ethan's next words would reveal a name she had known for more than 20 years, a name that would shatter every remaining piece of her past.